Hello. Well, I think that we are live, and I have about 15 minutes to speak with you today. So I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk with me about fundamental components of quality canning. I have a presentation that usually takes me about 45 minutes to give, and I've done my best to condense it down and run through it in the next 15. So I'm going to speak a little bit fast. Please feel free to type any questions that you have into the comments, and we'll try to take some time to circle back and go through them at the end. In order to dive right in real quick, by way of introduction, my name is Roger Kissling. I'm Vice President of Customer Management and Sales. Something that we'll come back to again and again in the presentation is our belief, our philosophy that packaging is the gatekeeper to your beer brand, to your beer and your brand, and your beer will only be as good as the packaging process. We can only make the beer worse. Those are words of truth. Quick introduction. And hold on, this is not the right presentation. Sorry, if you can give me 1 second. Here we go. And of course, technical difficulties. Okay, real quick. Here we go again. Quick introduction for Ironheart. Started in 2013. We now operate 70 plus total canning lines in 28 warehouses in 25 states. We'll fill about 85 million cans, but we have 250 million cans of filling experience that I'm drawing on for this presentation. Variety of can sizes, variety of products. Obviously, craft beer is still our core, but we can quite a bit of beer, of cider, wine, ready-to-drink cocktails, coffee, CBD waters, and a variety of non-alcoholic products. And we do plenty of nitro beverages as well. And our ancestral home, our HQ, is in Manchester, New Hampshire, here outside of Boston. So a couple quick words. Canning beer, cans and craft. I always like to say that once your beer is in package, you have options for sale, and that's never been more important than it is now and last year with life with COVID. But these are just some of the trends. Obviously, the reason why everyone is interested in cans and why cans continue to gain share from bottles and are now the preferred package for craft in America. But options for sale, distro, to go, clubs, direct to consumer. These are all possible once you do have your beer in package. Also, it's a great replacement for tap room options such as growlers and crowlers. And I think the biggest thing is the better quality, knowing that when your product is consumed, it will be fresh and it will taste good. And also getting that business card out into the market with your can artwork every single time you sell a can. Very important. So those are some benefits to cans. It's also true now that there's a wide range of equipment that's being used to service breweries of all sizes. So canning isn't just for the large breweries anymore like it was 6-8 years ago. Mobile canning is now a really integral component of growth in craft beer, but not all mobile canning service is created equal. Of course, I will say that. I have a little nod to mobile at the end of this presentation. But then even in-house canning options, there are more canning line options than there have ever been before of all different sizes and throughputs. And of course, I mentioned already, life with COVID-19 has certainly taproom restrictions and a pivot to package for to-go sales has made canning more important than ever before. Once again, packaging is the gatekeeper to your beer and your brand. Repeat that again. This is the list of components that I will talk about on the upcoming slides: canning equipment, beer prep, seam integrity, machine cleanliness and CIP, quality filling and measurables and goals, machine condition and operational performance, then standards of the operator, archiving and testing program, repeatable SOPs and best practices, and then can issues. So try to spin through these quickly, and I hope you benefit from it. So canning equipment. Once again, more options than there have ever been before, but not all canning equipment is created equal. Important thing to note that speed is not the only differentiator. You have different quality. There's different quality of filling options, and quality of seaming, control, and reliability are important as well. And look, you get what you pay for, but as the price tag increases, variability in quality will decrease. But as the price tag decreases, the need for operator expertise increases, and also as price tag decreases, throughput and automation will decrease, but your labor costs increase per case. Your time is valuable, so you want to find the right machine that fits you. You can get the greatest quality. You can get fantastic quality with a beer gun and a hand seamer, but you really have to know what you're doing, and you have to have repeatable practices to achieve that quality. Or you can have a Crohn's that you push a button on and you get great quality, but they cost a lot and there's a lot to maintain. So pay attention to what your forecast is, what your growth options are, and also keep the quality high. Next step in the process is consistent, accurate beer prep. The majority of filling that's done with craft beer is done with an inline filler, and temperature and carbonation are the most important. We always focus on 31 to 35 degrees Fahrenheit, 2.4 to 2.6 volumes of CO2. Obviously, those are inversely related. The higher the CO2, the colder you want to get. The lower the CO2, the lower the carbonation, the slightly higher temperature you want, so that you can minimize dissolved oxygen pickup with your different filling, with your different fill speeds and settings. Another important thing, of course, is low tank DO equals low can DO. So you need to monitor that in all phases of your brewing process, and post fermentation. And bad practices could equal falsely low DO, but you have oxidized beer. Something to keep in mind. And then on the bottom of each one of these slides, you'll see equipment processes and needs. So need to be able to measure your carbonation. We recommend a Zom and Nagel or better, so that you can have it repeatable. And of course, you need a DO meter if you're going to measure dissolved oxygen. Bulk CO2 is always recommended for optimizing fills and having consistent flow. Seam integrity. It's not if you'll need a seat adjustment or repairs, it's when. Seamers are really complicated. There's a nice resource here in doubleseam.com. I encourage you to go check that out. Most important thing when you're running your own canning line or when you're working with a mobile canner is to have seam checks prior to canning startup and interval checks during canning, because once again, it's not if you will need seamer adjustments or repairs, it's when. Hand micrometer, digital micrometer, countersink gauge, those are what I would say would be must-haves in my opinion. And then of course we do imaging of our seams on a monthly basis to make sure that all of our seamers are in spec, and you need we use a CMC Kunke seam imager for that. Machine cleanliness and CIP sounds really simple, but seen some pretty nasty canning lines when I've been around in the market. I'm not calling anybody out in particular, but it's elbow grease, but cleaning is the best preventative maintenance. You can never clean enough. Make sure you're consulting a pro to customize your CIP process, and pay special attention to different beers that you're canning, and different yeast strains, because the wrong yeast strain in the wrong beer is absolutely a contaminant. So running CIP in between. We follow a scorched earth policy so that we know that nothing is getting through, and we double check that with different methods, and we follow our regular SOP, which everybody should have. ATP testing device, aqua snaps, surface swabs, all very important. And if you have some in-house lab capabilities, that's a good thing to have. Quality filling, of course, filling accuracy, making sure you're getting consistent weights, and then also DO pickup minimization. Simple thing to say on this is if you're canning for speed and the cans are just flying down the canning line, it's usually not a good recipe for low DO pickup. So good DO sometimes means more difficult canning where you're just on the edge and you're encouraging the perfect amount of breakout to cap on foam. And then of course, loss minimization. Every ounce of beer that doesn't go into the can and ends up on the floor are lost profits. So more stops equal more loss because you have to redial these machines in. So making sure that your machine is maintained is very important, and we'll talk about that. It's a good segue to the next slide, which is happy machines equal better results, of course. So making sure that you keep up on your maintenance is ultra important. And a big tip, of course, is maintain an extensive backups part system on hand. Costs you a little extra money, but certainly saves a lot of downtime, and saves you a lot of money by being able to replace a part instead of having to wait for one. Then, of course, standards of the operator. Of course, expertise with the equipment and the beer are important, but once again, the most important thing that we found aside from training and experience using the equipment is the philosophy. And that is that making sure that people understand, the operator of your canning line understands that They can only make the beer worse. They can only take away from quality. Their job is to do that as close to zero as possible. Move the beer from a large tank to a smaller tank in the form of a can, and degrade the quality as close to zero as possible. Packaging is the gatekeeper to your brand and to your beer. So very important. The last three I'll rattle through really quick, but they are important. And that is, always recommend keeping an archiving program so that you have a library of past canning runs. Tank samples and can samples are the best if possible. And then keep the samples for your desired shelf life so that you can always refer back to it if there is an issue. And lastly, always date code your cans end with a timestamp. That really can help if there ever is an issue, being able to narrow it down to a specific time. And then repeatable SOPs and best practices, write them down, document them. If you ever need to retrain or you have some turnover, which inevitably happens and is always one of the biggest challenges, it certainly helps to eliminate the impact of that. Finally, can issues are something definitely to be paying attention to. Handling your cans post-packaging, especially if it's a sour or if it's an acidic beer, one damaged can will spread like cancer once they get on the exterior of other cans where there is no liner to protect it. So keep it cool, keep it dry. Make sure you give it some time to come up to temp before you're shrink wrapping it if you're not cold storing it. And take care of the beer once it's in cans as well. And then remember that you should be looking into the liners in the cans that you get, at least know what they are and know if it's compatible, and know when you're dealing with an at-risk beverage like a low pH beer. Also make sure that the beer is terminal if you're playing around with some of these yeast strains that will continue to chew down. Very important, or you can end up with gushers. Okay, so then quickly changing gears to the benefits of mobile and the value that Ironheart brings. So I'm just going to present this from our perspective at Ironheart, but remember, not all mobile services are created equal, but mobile certainly has contributed to the growth of craft beer, and we're very proud to play our role in it. And how we do that is by being our customers' canning infrastructure. Our goal is to be perfect. Our goal is to have high standards. We do this every day, so we should be better, and that's the attitude that we have. Aside from infrastructure in form of equipments, in the form of canning lines and equipment, and advanced quality control equipment in the back of the house, and investment in dedicated resources to that, we also offer can flexibility and a wide variety of sizes. I already talked about our experience, 8 years, 250 million cans, and machines that are preventatively maintained by our engineering team, so they're always good to go. And then there's expertise, people that are trained to be operators, that do it every day, that take 90 days before they're allowed to even run a canning line on their own. That makes a big difference, and with dedicated resources to quality, but also training to make sure that that bench strength of trained operators is always there for my customers. And then bulletproof operating procedures. I mean, we figured out how to operate these inline fillers and produce optimal results with our fill methodology. Some of it we would consider proprietary, but they are operator driven. Being able to give you low dissolved oxygen and quality you can take to the bank is super important. And that's a little bit of the value of Ironheart, and we feel that we do it very, very well. Then there's financial benefits as well, not just operational, but we're completely plug and play. We allow breweries of any size to get into packaging and compete and have a competitive platform to compete with any other brewery in package, so that you can avoid debt risk and capital expense and spend that money somewhere else that's going to grow margins or grow revenue or your ability to brew beer and make more money. So maybe it's a sales manager, maybe it's a centrifuge, maybe it's whatever. But because our turnkey quality service exists, you can count on us to package, and you don't have to worry about it. Also, let's face it, I don't know many people that get into the craft beer industry because they have a passion for standing next to a canning line. They want to make good liquid, and they want to promote their brand, and they want to have fun. And that's where we step in to handle the packaging, so you don't have to worry about it. Plus, we're right sized. Our operators are on the job as much as you need us, not more, not less. So you're never investing in an underutilized piece of equipment. Next, I wanted to show you really quick, and I'm not going to dwell on this because I'm running out of time, but some cost examples for materials. So if you're interested in getting into 12 or 16 ounce cans, it's going to run you anywhere from $7 to $8 a case for 12 ounce cans to around $9 to $10 a case for materials for blank and labeled cans. And then mobile canning is profitable, and you can see your cost per case in this specific example are anywhere. And this is total materials and service, not taking in the cost of beer production, which can vary, but you're going to be anywhere from $11 to $15 a case, let's just say, all in materials and filling service. Whether you're in 12-ounce cans or 16-ounce cans are a bit more expensive. And then I wanted to play a quick video. If you have to drop off, I completely understand, but this is what you'll expect on canning day. I don't have any questions that came up. So I'll show this video and then I'll sign off. Please feel free to finish watching it, but this is a picture of our operation on canning day. Thank you for taking 15 minutes to talk with me and learn a little bit about Ironheart and canning. Thank you very much.